Welcome back, welcome back. It is a thirsty Thursday indeed. And the big question crossing the country, to open or not to open? This is the question. And I say, right here in New York City and across the country, people should be slamming the table saying, we are opening. And it's absolutely bizarre that we have all kinds of empirical evidence saying that you have twice the chance of getting COVID and going to the hospital by being locked in your house than going out. In New York, 1/3 of the people that went in for corona were going to work, and 2/3 were sheltered in place. So you have a double the chance of getting it by being locked in your house. Mental problems are starting to happen. People are in recovery, sobriety, all kinds of other things. They're all off the charts now. Suicides are up. Calls to suicide hotlines are up. The people have to find a moment to stand up and say, we're going to speak for ourselves. And the honorary chairman of the Tea Party Patriots Action Committee, Jenny Beth Martin, leads just that type of organization. Hey, Jenny Beth, how are you?
I am great. It's so good to be back with you.
Fantastic. So, Jenny Beth, I'm actually part of a group, actually a growing group of small business owners here in New York, and including a bunch of attorneys who said they're going to represent these guys for free. And we're trying to put together a movement in New York to just have people start opening. And I think it really tests, the constitutionality of a lot of these executive orders. But you guys have a group of doctors now that are talking about why it's worse to keep people in. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've been working with a doctor named Simone Gold out of Los Angeles, who is an emergency room doctor and also a Stanford educated attorney. And she wrote a letter to the president, which we helped deliver for her, with over 500 doctors who've signed this letter, pointing out the unintended consequences and really what I call the side effects of the prescription the government has given us. I have been working with these doctors, reading the stories that they are telling and the experiences that they've had. One doctor in California was an emergency room doctor. A patient came in who had been undergoing cancer treatment and had to stop the treatment for cancer because it was considered an elective treatment, I suppose. And this particular patient was not able to survive without getting the regular treatment that you need that goes around chemotherapy. And he was admitted to the hospital and ultimately died. I've read another story, I haven't spoken to this particular doctor yet, out of Kentucky, where a man he cut his hand on a can. He's a 48-year-old man. He had children, cut his hand, did not go to the doctor because we were warned, stay away from emergency rooms, don't go to your doctor, don't leave your house. He took those warnings seriously. He wound up getting an infection, was admitted into the ICU, and died 12 hours later because he had a cut on his hand that went untreated. There are unintended consequences. I'm hearing from doctors about cancer, about heart attacks, about vision loss. I never realized how quickly, if you start experiencing vision loss, you have to get it treated or it may become permanent. The list just goes on and on and on. And in some cases, it's heartbreaking. It is time that America gets a second opinion, and we're doing everything we can to help these doctors give America that second opinion.
Well, that's tremendous. And I think, as we continue to see, the major social media distributors like Facebook and Google and YouTube, any doctors that are speaking out against whatever the liberal prescription is are taken down from these, doctors that are credible. I'm watching, people are sending me thousands of videos every day from different, there's one doctor in Texas who says she got around using hydroxychloroquine. You guys got 500 doctors to sign on to a letter to the president. You hosted a media call with 8 of those doctors from a Doctor a Day coalition. I don't know if you heard my open, but I've been citing for the last couple of weeks that calls to suicide hotlines are up. People who were in addiction recovery are going back to their former addictions. Many people are losing their mind. The anxiety makes them unhealthy in other ways. What could be done on a national level? Because by giving the governors the power to do this stuff, it's such a fragmented way to try to get a movement going. What could we do at a national level to try to get people, like-minded people, together?
Well, Nico, I think that's a great question. What we are doing right now, we are recording as many of these interviews with doctors as we possibly can. So if you're a doctor and you're interested in reaching out and getting involved with this, go to teapartypatriots.org, connect with us, let us know, fill out our contact us form, and I'll get back in touch with you. We need to get these recorded. We need to get them out and show them in as many places as we can. And one thing that I've seen, what you were just saying about how the social media companies are taking things down, we've got to make sure that as soon as we see videos like this and they are doctors and you have reason to believe that it is a legitimate doctor who is truly a doctor, then share that video as quickly as you possibly can with as many people as you can, and urge those people to download it off of social media so they have their own copy that they could continue to send around. And we're doing that. We've realized that people who are just doing organizing different events around the country, it's not just happening to doctors, but organizers like what you were just talking about doing in New York, that some of those events are being taken down. And we've got people who've been reaching out saying, will you email your list and get the word out? We're doing everything we can like that. What we have to do right now is we've got to call for reopening America. We need to speed the process up and get through this more quickly. We have 38 million people who no longer can provide for their families. People are dying from non-COVID related unintended consequences of the lockdown. We've got to get back to living our lives and make sure that we're still protecting those who are at high risk. And one more thing we have to do is we have to document this and get it down now so we learn these lessons and we make sure our country never goes through anything like this again. Not in the fall, not in 2 years from now, never again.
I'm with you. I think Donald Trump had to walk a really fine line. He had to, tiptoe through the tulips on overreaching at the federal level. And I thought he did a good job of providing federal support, but allowing the governors and, preserving the states' rights to act as they should. But I think there needs to be some federal guidance to some of these guys that put out these prohibitive orders. Like in Wisconsin, there was a state case where they won the case. It said that there was overreach, and they retracted the executive order, right? But it's hard to get a big group. You think the feds, I live in a part of New York where we've had 3 consecutive days at our 2 major hospitals with 0 COVID hospitalizations. So we're getting lumped, and we're more rural, right? We're just outside Manhattan. So we don't have the density of Manhattan. So our people are saying, why are we being treated like New York City? We're checked every metric in our borough, and we're at 0. So, why can't we go back to work? And that could start the whole New York City economy, but to no avail so far with legislators.
I think that those are really good questions, and some that people are going to have to decide. And it sounds like you and these attorneys are considering, is it worth civil disobedience so that you're able to continue to live your lives? And if enough people take action, it's going to be much more difficult for them to stop everyone. I'm not necessarily advocating for that, but at some point you have to stand up and say what the government is doing, they have overstepped their bounds, they are infringing on our rights, and this is not the way that we do things in our country. Now, I'm not saying that in the very beginning, when we were trying to get our hands around this virus, we didn't need to take some drastic measures to make sure we understood what we were dealing with, especially since China lied to the entire world about it, and to figure out how we are going to go about treating it. We've done that. President Trump and the coronavirus task force have the air bridge to move ventilators around the entire country. Governor Cuomo out of New York did not need the 30,000 to 40,000 ventilators he said he was going to need, and in fact has shipped ventilators to other parts of the country. So we got our hands around it. We did what we needed to do to understand and to prepare hospitals. They are prepared. We know who is at the highest risk. As citizens, we should be willing to go and help those people who are at high risk so they can continue to be protected from the virus. And the rest of us need to be able to live our lives.
Yeah.
Our children need to go back to school.
I'm with you. I'm thinking myself about starting a act of civil disobedience and going back and opening up the Liquid Lunch studio in New York City. And if they're going to come and arrest me for trying to report the news from my studio, then it'll probably be national news, I would think. But Jenny, Beth, we got to wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us each week. And anything we can do to spread the word, what you guys are doing, let us know.
Thank you, Nico.
Thank you so much. You're welcome, Mary Jane. Nico's my producer, but he preps all the guests before they come on, and the guests probably like him more than they like me, actually. All right, we're going to take a quick break right now. We're going to come back with some news of the day, markets, and everything going on. Me and my partner, Frankie Morano, right after this.